What is going on YouTube? It's Queen today. I'm back with another video. I wouldn't really say live commentary because I'm not going to be commentating while I'm playing. I'm actually just going to be talking. Today's video is going to be something a little different, something I've never really done before, but I think this is something that I want to start getting into. I don't know, it's just something that I want to get into. Um, Basically, today's video is about my mental illness. And this is something that's really hard for me to talk about. It's a little touchy situation because I don't really talk to people or anything about my situation. But the one thing that has brought this to my attention, has brought me to want to talk about it, is people sending me messages and they're in the same situation that I am, and they ask me, how do you deal with it? How do you cope? Have you been in this situation? Have you been depressed? Are you just feeling, have you been this down? Have you felt like there's no hope? Like, I've gotten this question more than once, and this is just something that I want to share with you guys. Personal experience. It's, like I said, it's a very, very touchy situation for me to talk about, but I think it's a situation that, I don't know, if it'll help others, it'll make me happy. I guess that's how I should say it. So, like I said, I have a mental illness. In December, my mental illness got very, very bad. I have really, really bad depression. And for some of you that doesn't know what, depression feels like, or you think that you have depression, depression is like you're drowning, basically. You feel like you're drowning, and then you look at everybody around you, and everybody's just breathing. You feel down every day, like it hits you at random times. Like you can just be reading a book and, just get sad. Just different things spark depression. Different things bring on depression. And, like I said, depression is one of probably the worst feelings ever, because like I said, you feel like you're drowning and everybody around you is just breathing. My mental illness in December had gotten worse. What has gotten me the way that I am, the reason why, I feel down or have felt down, or why it hits me at random times, and what has brought on my depression, is life events. Different things happen to people for them to get depressed, and my situation, there's been multiple life events in the past 5 years, 6 years, that have brought on my depression, and it's just something that's happened in a row, like repeatedly. And they're different things, but they have happened every year, and it's literally had taken a toll on me. And back in 2009, my house caught on fire. I was in my room, I was sleeping, and it was 2 days after Christmas, I remember. It was 2 days after Christmas, and it was snowing. And I remember it staying up late. I was talking on the phone, because back in the day, talking on the phone was a thing. I was talking on the phone, and I had a cell phone back then, and I texted sometimes, but I always enjoyed talking on the phone. I was talking on the phone, and I was up pretty late. I was up till like 5 in the morning. And I remember I went to bed. And my mom told me, had explained this story to me, from the beginning. And she said, that 2 days after Christmas, they had taken down our Christmas tree. And in my old house, you go up the stairs, and then there was a foyer. There was like a big open space, and then there was my room, and across from me was my brother's room. And then we have an attic, like right down the hall. And we always stored our stuff in that attic, so like Christmas tree, boxes of stuff that we didn't need and stuff like that, and we'd put stuff in there. Well, that day, I was asleep. It was 2 in the afternoon, and some people, when they stay up pretty late, they sleep all day. And back then, I was a heavy sleeper. When someone tried waking me up, I'd get super grouchy. Sometimes to this day, I still get super grouchy, but, it happens. And my mom said I was upstairs asleep. They were putting the Christmas tree away. And my little brother, because this is when I first started playing Xbox and stuff, I got into Halo 3. And my little brother always wanted to play my Xbox, and I wouldn't let him. And he had a PlayStation 2, and I had an Xbox 360. He always wanted to play my Xbox, and I wouldn't let him. And when I was asleep, that's when he'd sneak on it and play Halo. Well, my mom said, he was downstairs and my little brother was playing Halo, and my mom was sitting in the kitchen after it was a few hours after they had putting up the Christmas tree and everything. Her and my stepdad was sitting in the kitchen, and my mom happened to just look into the living room, and she noticed that it looked hazy, like it kind of looked like a little bit smoky. And my bedroom was right above our living room. And, my mom sat there and said to my stepdad, she was like, hey, she goes, it looks hazy in that room. And, my stepdad's like, oh, you're seeing things. Like, you're just, it's all in your head or whatever. And my mom's like, no, it really does look hazy in there. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Well, my little brother was like, yeah, it does look smoky in here. And my stepdad's like, you guys are just seeing things. Well, it had been like a few minutes later, my mom was gonna go take a shower, and she told my little brother, she's like, hey, I'm gonna go take a shower, and as soon as she was getting her stuff, that's when our power went out, and, as soon as the power went out, that's when she knew something was wrong, because it didn't come back on, and normally sometimes, like, during a storm or whatever, the power goes out and then comes back on, but it had been snowing, so what could have caused our power to go out, like, it was really weird, and the fact that our power didn't come back on, that's what really, bothered her. So she told my little brother, she's like, hey, go upstairs and wake up Monica. And my little brother was like, okay. And she followed him because she knew if she sent him up there by himself, like, I would just be like, get out of my room. So he comes up there and, he's yelling at me to wake up, and I go down there, and I wake up, and as soon as I stand up and walk out of my room, there is smoke coming up out of our floor. And that's when my mom was like, go to your grandma's house, because my grandma lives right across, the road from us. My grandma and grandpa does. So, I ran downstairs. I had basketball shorts on and a t-shirt, no socks or anything, because I hate sleeping with socks. Like, it just bothers me. And I found one of the most random pair of shoes, like, down the stairs. I put them on, and we ran over to my grandma's house. And, like, the first thing... And I'm yelling to my mom when, I'm running down the stairs, because, they say don't take anything with you to the house fire. I'm telling at my mom, grab my phone charger. Like, that was the only thing I was worried about, was, like, my phone charger. So, my mom was up there trying to get my phone charger. She couldn't find it. We go to my grandma's house, and I'm still half asleep, and my mom calls the fire department. The fire department gets here, and I'm half asleep. I don't know what's going on, and they knock my windows out first, and a whole bunch of black smoke just rolls out of the windows, and that's when I lost it. That's when it hit me, oh my god, like, our house is on fire, like, what is going on? Like, it's just like one of those situations. Like, I was upset, my cousins have came down, my aunt and uncle came down, my best friend during the time when I was in high school, she came down, and her dad, because I played softball with her, and, everybody was just saying, I'm so sorry, and, it hit me like, oh my god, like, oh my god, my house is on fire. And my best friend was like, you can come stay with us anytime you want, stuff like that. Well, after the fire department had gotten done, we went in there, and I was the only person to lose everything, because the fire had started in my room, like, literally a foot from my head. Like, if my mom would have waited like 5 more minutes, I could have been dead. Like, that's how, like, bad it was. And everything in my room either got water damaged or it had gotten burnt by the fire. And, it sucked. It really sucked. I had people, giving me clothes, had given me different things, this and the other, like, sucked, like, and I was scared to go to sleep, because, that's like one of those situations, like, oh my god, that was a life or death situation, like, I could have died in that situation, and, it sucked, but, we got through it. It bothered me for a long time. I stayed with my best friend, for 3 days after that happened. We lived with my grandparents for a little bit, and then we ended up renting a house, and then, when we rented a trailer that was, like, across the street from us, that's when the next year, not even a year, like, after, my grandma had a downspill, and, that bothered me, like, a lot, because my grandma was my best friend. She was my second mom. She, was there for me, and to find her the way that I found her, I was just like, it was really weird, because, okay, she took thyroid pills, and, she quit taking her thyroid pills because she thought she was losing, like they were making her lose her hair. And when me and my mom found her, we found her sitting in the bathroom on the toilet talking to herself. And it was like, it wasn't just a normal like talk, like she was out of it. Like you could tell just by looking at her, she was out of it. And, that had happened next, with my life event. That had happened, and, we took my grandma to the hospital, and then, like, the hospital where I live is just one of the most horrible hospitals, like, ever. Like, nobody likes going there because you can go there with a broken arm, and they'll say, oh, like, your arm's not broken, it's just bruised. Like, that's how bad the hospital is, and we had that was the closest hospital, and that's where she went. And I remember 5 minutes before midnight, they had lifelined my grandma to Methodist Hospital here in Indianapolis, or in Indianapolis, which is 2 hours from me. And, we went there, we drove there. It was about 2 in the morning when we got there, and then we stayed there till like 5 in the morning, and then drove home later because my grandma was in the ICU. And all, like, a whole bunch of just events had happened in that time with my grandma. And like with her, like she was really bad, and then she got better, and then she was really bad, and then she got better, and then she was really bad, and she got better, and it got to the point where she wanted to come home. She didn't want to be in the hospital anymore, and she had been in the hospital for almost a year. Well, off and on in the hospital. She went from the hospital to a nursing home, to a hospital, nursing home, back to the hospital. And, it got to the point that she said she wanted to come home, which, it bothered us a lot because, we wanted her to, fight for life. But then again, she didn't need to be there suffering. And with my grandma, she went to this one doctor that's like 30 minutes from us. And, if I was my grandpa, I probably would have sued him. But, I mean, it's my grandpa, he didn't. But my grandma was containing water, like, on her legs and her feet. And her doctor said, it was because she was a bigger woman. It's basically what he told her. He said it was because she was a bigger woman. And so, nobody really thought anything about it. And, when she was up there in Methodist, they found all kinds of things wrong with her. They found a cyst on her brain. They found that she had 4 infections in her bloodstream. They found she had cirrhosis of liver. Like, she had so many things wrong with her. And that day that she wanted to come home, my grandpa, he would do anything for her. He would do anything for that woman. And, if I could go back and live differently, I probably would. I feel bad because I hated seeing my grandma the way that she was. So I didn't go to the hospital, like, a lot. But I mean, there's not, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's nothing that I could really do, like, in that situation, because, I mean, I was young, and I was sad, and, it bothered me. I didn't like seeing my grandma the way that she was, especially when I seen all those tubes in her throat and stuff like that, so, like, it bothered me. But, she got to come home, my grandpa got her home, and she was on hospice. And when she came home, she was, happy. She loved being home and stuff like that. And she lived for about 3 weeks. And then my mom had read in the hospice book, how, when somebody's going. And the last week that she was alive, she basically slept. And, like, we kept giving her morphine. And, I was young. I didn't understand what was going on. But my mom knew. I remember one day my mom was like, you're not going to school, you're just gonna stay home and be with grandma and stuff. And, I couldn't understand why, so I was just like, okay. I didn't want to go to school anyways, like, I wanted to spend time with my grandma. We go over there, and we're sitting there, and then I remember being, in the other room watching TV while my grandma slept, and then my mom came in there, and she's like, you need to come in here. And I'm like, okay, and I go in there, and I see my grandma, and she looked like she was basically a fish out of water breathing. She was, gulping for air like she couldn't breathe. And that's when it dawned on me my grandma was going. And, after all that happened, my mom told me, she said, yeah, it said in that handbook, that's what it's like. And that's when it dawned on me my grandma was going. And it's so hard to talk about because she's my best friend. If I could go back to being with her every day that she was home, I would, like in a heartbeat, I would. If, heaven had visiting hours, I would go visit her. I would do anything. I would give anything just to go see my grandma again. My grandma was my second mom. She raised me from when I was a newborn. Me and my brother both. She would watch me and my brother when my mom and dad was at work. You know, it's I'd give anything just to see that woman again. Well, after my grandma had passed away, a year later, my great grandpa passed away due to a four-wheeler wreck. And then in 2013, my uncle, who was 47 years old, got murdered by my cousin's ex-boyfriend slash baby daddy. She had two kids by him. And, my uncle, like, he wasn't there after my uncle. He was clearly not there after my uncle. Which is kind of weird for me to say because you're probably thinking your uncle was murdered. Why would you say something like that? But if you knew the whole story, like, you would understand a little bit more. But he wasn't there after my uncle. He was there after my cousin's current boyfriend. And it was all over jealousy. Austin, which was the guy that did it, he is in prison now. He is in there for life. We went there last summer was his sentencing, which you're probably thinking, why did you go to sentencing so late? And the reason why we went sentencing so late is because he kept putting it off, kept putting it off, kept putting it off. They kept trying to give him a plea agreement. He just kept turning it down. And then when it was time to go, he would say, oh, I'm insane. I'm pleading insanity. So the judge finally put his foot down and said, hey, you either plead or we're going to trial. And he didn't want to plead, so we went to trial. And, that being in trial was the hardest thing because thinking about the situation, when all this happened, I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to stay the night with my cousin, but my mom, ended up saying, hey, like, let's do this a different week because, it'd been snowing and stuff because it happened in January. She was like, let's do it when the weather's a little bit better. Like, she didn't want to be driving 2 hours south to take me there and then 2 hours back. And I said, that's fine. Like I said, Austin is in prison now. He's in there for life. The jury decided that he gets life without parole, plus other charges. But, life without parole, that's what he gets. A life to me, that's life for life. And, when it first happened, I sat there and, I thought, he should get what he dished out. He killed my uncle. I think he should deserve the death penalty. I think this. And then the more that I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a good thing that he goes to prison and that he is in there for life. Because it really, if you think about it, he's in there in bars in basically a box with nothing. I guess they get something. The prison, I don't know, I've never really been there. But if you think about it, he's not seeing his family only on his visiting hours. He's not socializing with, all the females that he socialized with when he was with my cousin. He's not socializing with his friends. He's not, what I mean? He's not doing any of that. He just basically rotting in a jail cell. That's the best way that I can think of it. And then, when I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? That is the best revenge. That's the best revenge. And I don't know how to explain it. I believe in God, but I have my I don't know if I should say doubts. I question him a lot. But then again, I have read the Bible, and in the Bible, it does say, forgive others for sins. And it says, if you forgive others for sins, God will forgive you for your sins. But if you do not forgive others for their sins, he's not going to forgive you for their sins. And as hard as it was, it took all the strength in my body to forgive him because, he took my uncle away from me. He took my mom's brother. He took my cousin's dad. He took my grandpa's son. He was a father, a son, an uncle, a cousin. Like Austin just took someone so precious from a family, from friends, from this, from that. He took away a pretty big deal, and any family member is a pretty big deal. Even a friend, if you have a friend, is a big deal. And it took as much strength as I could to forgive him for that. And you're probably thinking, why would you forgive someone who killed your family member? And like I said, I believe in the Bible, and I believe in God, but I have my questions. But, in the Bible, it said, forgive him and I'll forgive you for your sins. So, that's what I did. And the more that I got to read in the Bible after it all happened, it says in the Bible, even though he's going to be in prison here, when he wants to go to heaven, he's going to stand before God and he's got to go through that judgment. And apparently, from what I've read, they have a jail in heaven. So, the more that I started reading about it, I'm like, okay. I started to believe more, stuff like that. But, like I said, he was there more because of jealousy. He was there after my cousin's current boyfriend. He was there to kill. He was there. He was armed. He was there to kill. And one of those situations where you're like, why my uncle? Or if it was your brother, why, it's a touchy situation to talk about. And I truly, truly feel bad for the people who has all been through this. It's not a great feeling, losing someone like that. It's the most tragic situation to lose someone, and it sucks. I mean, losing someone just sucks in general, but the way that it happens sometimes is what makes it a lot worse. And I would do anything to go visit him. Me and my uncle lived 2 hours from me, and I got to see him. I got to stay with him once a week almost every summer. And he would come up here, and, I would do anything just to be able to go to heaven, like I said about my grandma, and just sit with him and talk to him for hours. After all that had happened, that happened in 2013. In 2014, this kid I met online, me and him was really good friends, and it was my first online relationship, which kind of crazy, but this was like back in the day. I found out he had committed suicide, and that hurt me a lot because I'm a firm believer in if you love someone, you love someone. It doesn't matter the distance. It doesn't matter what skin color they are. It doesn't matter how big they are, how little they are. If you love someone, you love someone. And I loved him. I mean, he may have lived in a different state, but I loved him. He was my first love, and I was in love with him. I don't know, I loved him. And, even though me and him had broken up, me and him remained best friends. We had each other on Facebook. We played Xbox together, almost every day. I told him about my problems. He told me about his problems. We were best friends. I'm not going to go into details about the suicide in respect to his family and to his friends, but, when I found out that had happened, I got a message on Facebook from his best friend saying, hey, did you hear about this person? I was like, I'm not gonna say his name either, but I was like, no, what had happened to him, and she started explaining to me. And at first, I didn't believe her. I was like, there's no way. I can't see him doing that. And so I started, I started looking around, and I noticed his Facebook was deactivated. And I was like, okay. So I went to her profile, looked at her pictures, and then that's when I seen his little headstone. And when someone dies, they get a little plaque before they get a headstone, and I seen the plaque with his name on it. And then is when I just lost it. At first I was just so in shock and in disbelief. I was like, what the heck? I asked her what happened. She told me, and, it sucks that it happened. I mean, he did it over a girl. It sucks that, he ended his life because of a female. I feel like nobody should ever end their life due to another person, but, people, it happens. And it had happened, and I think I cried for 4 hours straight. It's such like I would do anything just to be able to talk to him again because he was my best friend, just like my grandma. Him and my grandma, they were my best friends. You know, I talked to them about basically my mental illness, my depression, and stuff like that. And when I was feeling down, and like, it sucks. I don't know. I don't know what, more to say other than it sucks a lot. It hurts a lot. You know, I think about them every single day, and that's part of the reason why I have a mental illness. I just think about the things that has happened, and sometimes I get sad for no reason whatsoever. Sometimes I just get so to the point like I feel alone. I always feel hopeless. I feel worthless. I don't feel pretty. I don't feel beautiful. I feel like I have no friends, just stuff like that. Like I feel like that every single day. And there's different ways that, you can cope with it. And like one of the things that I do the most is I play video games. And you're probably thinking, why would you play video games? To me, when I'm able to play video games and I'm feeling depressed, like it helps me escape reality. It helps me get away from the situations that I'm feeling, because I don't want to face it. I hate facing it when it's just like, I don't know, I can just escape reality. It makes me feel better because I'm not facing the problem. I can, just, relieve my problems, get away from my problem just by playing a video game. And another thing that, that had gotten me, the way that I am is when I was in high school, I was bullied a lot. When I was in elementary, I was bullied a lot because I'm a bigger girl, because I'm not skinny, because I'm not pretty, I'm not beautiful, I'm not a supermodel. And still to this day, I get bullied online. And I will say, it hurts more getting bullied, cyberbullied, more than it does in real life. But they both hurt. They both hurt the most. And the one thing that, it's still hard for me to understand is, what is the point of bullying someone? What is the point of telling somebody to kill themselves? What's the point of making someone because they're fat and not because making fun of someone because they're ugly, making fun of someone because they don't have a left ear, like, just random things, like, especially in arguments. Like, I've noticed this a lot online, definitely online. If someone loses a game to you and you are arguing with them, like, the first thing that they do is they bring your personal appearance into it. Why? What's the point of that? I don't understand. And I probably never will understand. And, it's just one of those situations. But that's probably one of the big doers of why I've been really depressed. I have real bad social anxiety. When I go out in public, I always feel like someone's staring at me, making fun of me, talking about me. Like, it's just the worst thing ever. I think that's probably one of my downs, is why I'm always feeling depressed. Like, I can sit here and get on Twitter, and I'll see someone, and they'll be pretty, and like I say, or just think to myself, why can't I be that pretty? Or why can't I get that attention? Or why this, why that? Like, it's really hard for me to talk about the situation because I don't want to feel like I'm complaining about my problems, but, like I said, I'm doing this video for basically the people that has asked me, questions of, have I ever felt this way? And, I might as well tell my life struggles while doing it, so you guys get a better understanding of, I'm not just complaining, like, I have actual real life events that have happened to get me this way. Also, besides, with the coping, playing video games, I draw, and sometimes I like to sit outside, and sometimes I listen to music. I don't know, everybody deals with it a different way. I know people have asked me, have you, have you gone to a counselor? Do you take medication for it? Me, I'm a firm believer in not taking medication. I feel like if you take medication and you run out of medication, it's literally just going to make you worse. I feel like if you're depressed and you get down and you're taking medication and one day you're depressed and you don't have your medication, think of how it will just fuck you up. That, like I said, that's in my opinion. I have thought about going to a counselor. I have thought about doing this and that, and yeah, like, if you're watching this video and you're like, well, what should I do? I mean, if you're in the early stages of depression, get it taken care of before it gets worse. I had put it off for so long, to the point where I have a mental illness now. And having a mental illness is just, it's not fun. You don't want to get your depression so severe that you feel like you have no hope, because feeling hopeless, feeling worthless, it's not a great feeling, and like, you're drowning and everybody around you is just breathing. Like, you feel like you can't smile for the little things. You feel like you can't go out and have fun. You just sit in your room and stuff like that. Don't get that way. Don't. Because it's not a great feeling and it's so hard to come up out of it. It's so hard to swim up and breathe. Get it taken care of before it gets worse. And, the advice that I have to give to people that aren't depressed, and say they're in a situation where somebody messages them, and they're like, hey, like, say someone, like, messages you, and they're depressed, and you don't know what to say. Don't ever, the things you don't ever want to say to someone that are depressed is, I thought you were stronger than that, or don't tell them to stop whining, and don't tell them it's all in their head. Don't tell them to cheer up, and don't tell them they're looking for attention, because they're not looking for attention. When someone says they're depressed, they're most likely depressed. Like, you may not know what they're depressed about. You don't know any of that. Don't say any of those things. Don't tell them to try not being depressed, and don't say I know how you feel, because everybody feels differently. Everybody deals with things differently. Everybody copes with things differently. When someone loses a family member, everybody grieves differently. People are different. And, if you need something to say and you want to know what to say, tell them that you'll be there for them. Tell them that they matter. Help them. Let them know that they won't drive you away, and tell them that you care, and tell them that you're going to get through it with them. Be there for them. Don't just, make them feel like shit, basically. Be there for them. Get through it with them. Everything I just said, care for them. Care. Listen to them. Be a person for them, because they're feeling lonely. They're coming to you because they need a person. Be there for them. And, if you guys are watching this video and you're struggling with a mental illness and you're feeling down and you need someone to talk to, I am always here to listen. Even though I have my problems and, you're afraid, well, I don't want to talk to you because I don't want to put my problems on you. Don't feel that way. If you need someone to talk to and you need somebody to listen, I am always here to listen. I'm always here to talk. I'm always here to be a friend. And I love every one of you guys that watch my YouTube channel. I love every one of you that watch my Twitch channel. But like I said, if you're struggling with something, get help or talk to someone. Don't sit there feeling guilty and sorry for yourselves. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Talk to someone. Talk to someone. Talk to someone. And one of the questions that I've been asked is about crying. If you need to cry, cry. cry all the time. Sometimes crying helps. If you're afraid that you're gonna talk to someone and you're gonna cry, don't be afraid. Crying's okay. Crying is normal. Crying sometimes make you feel better. This is really all I have to say for this video, guys. It's something a little different. It's 30 minutes long. I know, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about doing a video like this every week or twice a week about life or just different things, just randomly talking about things. So, thank you guys for watching. Really all I have to say, like I said, thank you guys for watching.